in this episode. In our previous episodes, we've spoken about a lot of things like which is the best camera, which is the best lens for dental photography, which is the best flash for dental photography, what are the best intraoral accessories, what are the best cheek retractors, mirrors, contrasters, and so on and so forth. But this episode is slightly different. Other than having a good DSLR and a lens is that you should have a Studiolight. But the problem comes over here. There are tons of Studiolights available in the market. Which is the best one for us? Which is the best Studiolight for us? We will discuss exactly that in this particular episode. If you actually talk about the comparison, I don't really know what is the cost of FRX 200 right now, but when I had purchased, I think it was around 28,000 or 30,000. FRX 400 should be 35 to 36,000 Indian rupees. Chrome has receivers in both of its lights. However, Godox is not like that. In Godox, if you see the light behind Godox, you have a USB socket and you get a receiver separately. In whichever light you mount the receiver, that becomes the receiver. In this episode, I actually wanted to talk about, are there any other Studiolights which are less expensive? For example, the FRX 400 should be around 36,000, but still is not available because of COVID. And the Godox SK400 is again around 32,000, but again, it's not available because of COVID-19. You can show off your skills with glamour dental photography or tabletop photography, and this Studiolight is just working like a piece of cake. So there are a lot of classifications of Studiolights. There could be Studiolights which work with DC current, that's direct current. There are Studiolights which work on DC current as well as just a battery. That's really good for outdoor photography. So these Studiolights will work even if they are not wired. You just charge the battery and you can use them. You're listening to the Dental Photography School podcast, where I'll be sharing practical tips on clinical and general photography. I'm Dr. Mayur Dauda, and I've been coaching dentists and dermatologists on clinical photography since 2013. In our previous episodes, we've spoken about a lot of things like which is the best camera, which is the best lens for dental photography, which is the best flash for dental photography, what are the best intraoral accessories, what are the best cheek retractors, mirrors, contrasters, and so on and so forth. But this episode is slightly different. We see a lot of dentists moving towards glamour dental photography. And if you want to do glamour dental photography, the basic requirement for that, other than having a good DSLR and a lens, is that you should have a Studiolight. But the problem comes over here. There are tons of Studiolights available in the market. Which is the best one for us? This episode will help you find out exactly that. So there are a lot of classifications of Studiolights. There could be Studiolights which work with DC current, that's direct current. There are Studiolights which work on DC current as well as just a battery. That's really good for outdoor photography. So these Studiolights will work even if they are not wired. You just charge the battery and you can use them. There are Studiolights which different softboxes mounted on them. In the sense, the mounting system is different. For example, there's an Chrome mount, there's a Bowens mount, Godox mount, and many other mounts. Then we also have Studiolights with different power or watts. And of course, there are Studiolights in different ranges of money that are available to us. But which is the best Studiolight for us? We will discuss exactly that in this particular episode. So let's narrow down on the best Studiolights for us. Personally, my favorite is the Chrome Studiolight. It comes in different series with different watts, of course. The basic one is Chrome FRX 200, which is my favorite. Then the Chrome FRX 200 is the minimum watts, that's 200 watts. But then we also have Chrome FRX 400, which has 400 watts, and you can obviously buy higher watts if you want. But the question is, do we require high watts for dental photography or just portraits? The answer to that is not really. even basic 200 watts is more than enough for glamour dental photography, for portraits, and even for intraoral photography. Yes, we do a lot of intraoral glamour photography with Studiolights itself many a times for many cases. If we want to actually record the case for publications, we do that. So should we buy 200, 400, 600 or 800? Well, the answer is you don't need high watts. You can do your work even in 200. Price wise, FRX 200 is obviously the most economic because it's the lowest watt. But as you increase the voltage, the power, the cost of it increases. If you actually talk about the comparison, I don't really know what is the cost of FRX 200 right now. But when I had purchased, I think it was around 28,000 or 30,000. FRX 400 should be 35 to 36,000 Indian rupees. That said, why I like Elinchrom FRX 200. Number one, it's compact. It's got a beautiful softbox that's really nice and versatile. So the Elinchrom softbox typically come in a square format as compared to a Godox softbox which comes in a rectangular format. Both of them are good. Elinchrom softbox is usually has a single diffuser. However, the Godox softbox has a double diffusion, means there's a cloth inside and a cloth outside. So you might get more softer results with the Godox softbox, because I'm just comparing these two lights right now because these are the most frequently used you can say Studiolights nowadays. Price wise, Elinchrom FRX 200, like I said, should be around 30,000, but Godox, I don't think it makes 200 watt. I think it makes the SK 400, which is 400 watt. That's currently available. Most of the models are not available usually because of the COVID situation. But I think even Godox is not available now, and so is Elinchrom. Elinchrom is also not available nowadays. But Godox SX 400 should be around 32,000 if I'm not wrong. That's quite less as compared to Elinchrom FRX 400. I'm not really sure if Godox makes a 200 watt light. If you know if it makes, just put it in the comments below so everybody can know that even Godox has a 200 watt that's available for us to use. Now coming to the main difference why I like Elinchrom. Now the way we use Studiolights is very simple. There are two Studiolights usually that you always buy, and the Studiolights have to be purchased in a pair. So the cost that I said is usually the cost of a pair of Studiolights and not a single Studiolight. I would probably prefer to pay a little bit more for Elinchrom because obviously it's a Swiss company with its base in India. Godox is a Chinese company, so the entire make of Elinchrom is more sturdy, more reliable as compared to Godox. That's number one. And number two is the way we use Studiolight is the Studiolights are going to be triggered with a trigger that we get whenever you purchase a Studiolight, or you have to buy it separately sometimes. In Elinchrom, you get it inside the set itself. When you're paying 32,000 or 30,000 or whatever it is, you get two lights, two softboxes, two light stands, power cables, and one trigger. However, in Godox, it's not like that. In Godox, whenever you're paying money, you get two Studiolights, two softboxes, one trigger, and that's it. You do not get light stands. So that's one reason why I like Elinchrom. But the main reason why I like Elinchrom is because the lights of Elinchrom, that means the two lights that you get with Elinchrom, both of them have a receiver, right? So the trigger or the transmitter which sends in the radio signals for the Studiolight to fire when we are taking an image, it has to have a receiver in the light. Right. Elinchrom has receivers in both of its lights. However, Godox is not like that. In Godox, if you see the light behind Godox, you have a USB socket and you get a receiver separately. In whichever light you mount the receiver, that becomes the receiver. The other light works on slave mode. Means if the light with the receiver fires, the other light will fire as soon as the light from the light which has the receiver falls on it. It does not have its own receiver. That's the drawback. So what is the drawback actually? Since the other light is working on slave mode, it is going to fire with any other flash if it's present in that room or in the adjacent room if the light falls on the slave. So that's one reason why I do not like the Godox SK400 so much as compared to the Elinchrom FRX 400. These are the two lights which I'm comparing right now. Power wise, both of them are great. Both of them just do great. Diffusion wise, I feel Godox is better because it has double diffusion. Elinchrom has single diffusion, but it's just amazing as well. I would say diffusion wise, Godox is a little bit better, not too great. So again, you can buy whatever you like. Like I said, Elinchrom has a square softbox, but Godox has a rectangular softbox, which could be a little bit more versatile as compared to Elinchrom. But I'll still buy Electron because I get light stands as well as receivers in both my studio lights. Yes, cost wise, both of them are a little bit pricey. So in this episode, I actually wanted to talk about, are there any other studio lights which are less expensive? For example, the FRX 400 should be around 36,000, but still is not available because of COVID. And the Godox SK 400 is again around 32,000, but again, it's not available because of COVID-19. So I did a lot of research and I wanted to find out which are the studio lights which are available, which are simple, not complex, economic, and yet can be used for dental photography. So this episode is mainly focused on that particular thing. Are there studio lights which are economic? Yes. Are there studio lights which are less complicated to use? Yes. The answer to that is yes, yes, and yes. So I did a lot of research and I found out 2 studio lights which I could purchase within the cost of rupees 10,000. That's amazing, right? And I got 2 names for that. One is the Simpex and the other one is Photo Pro. When I checked out the reviews, both of the reviews were same, but Simpex mounting the softbox was slightly difficult. Okay, so that's how I came face to face with this softbox and Studiolight from Photo Pro. So what do we get whenever we are buying the Photo Pro studio lights? You get 2 lights, of course, 2 softbox assemblies, which is just like any other softbox of Electron or Godox. Then you get 2 light stands as well. What you do not get is a trigger, however. Okay, so this entire assembly is around maybe 9,000 rupees. That's it, and it's not complicated at all. But you have to buy a trigger separately. So I purchased a Simpex trigger. I'll be speaking more in detail about this particular studio lights in my Instagram reels. So do follow me on Instagram at Canon Photo Mentor, where I'll actually demonstrate how to use these studio lights and mount the softbox as well. So coming back to the Photo Pro studio lights, basically you need to understand that there are 2 types of lights with 2 different mounts. One is an Electron mount and one is a Godox mount. So the Photo Pro is like the Electron mount. Okay, so you can put any softbox which has the Electron type of a mount. What do you mean by a mount? Every softbox has a mount. It is like a socket and a bulb. You have to have a particular design of the socket and the similar bulb will go inside. It's a mechanical thing. So Electron mount is something like the old age tungsten bulbs that you had. You need to put it inside the socket and rotate it. That's how it works. But the Godox mount is completely different. It has 3 holes you've got to put it in, and that's it. Rotate the ring and it just fixes. So obviously the Godox mount softboxes cannot be used in the Electron mount and vice versa. But the Photo Pro is like the Electron mount. So any Electron or similar type of softboxes will fit on Photo Pro. So the best part about Photo Pro is economics. It's not expensive at all. It is very compact. The lights are very, very small. So I purchased the Photo Pro 300 DT, which is really cool, compact. And you get 2 awesome softboxes which are Electron mount. Both the softboxes have double diffusion and the diffusion works wonderfully. Both of them are square in shape, so it's really versatile. And you obviously get 2 sturdy light stands which are awesome. I've shown all of this in the forthcoming reels that are going to be shown on my Instagram. That's Canon Photo Mentor Instagram account. So do follow me over there. Now coming to the drawback, why is this light just for 9,000 rupees? There has to be something missing out here. Maybe you can say that it is less expensive because it's made in India, obviously, so the import duty and all goes down. The make is slightly plasticky, so you have to be a little careful while using it. Do not drop it, and it's actually not made for transportation. I would suggest that you use it only at one clinic. Do not move around with it because it might break. But the real reason why it's so inexpensive is that it does not have any receivers, and in fact it does not even provide a trigger. So you have to buy a separate trigger and receiver assembly. But it's really simple to use, which I've shown in my reels. So you just buy a trigger separately. It's not very expensive. It should be around 1,200 to 1,500 rupees and you're good to go. Again, the receiver and the trigger is just one, so it'll go only in one of the Photo Pro studio lights, and the other studio light will act as a slave. So whenever the master will fire, the slave will fire. That's how this light is supposed to be used. It's exactly like the Godox system. Means one of the light will fire with the radio receiver and the second light will fire as a slave when light falls on it. So which is completely different from Electron. Electron is just super good. So now we narrow down to our choices. If you have the money, go ahead with Electron. It's a one-time buy and it's going to be lasting you for your life. So you can go for Electron FRX 200 or Electron FRX 400. very frankly, there's not much of a difference with cost. I believe that Elinchrom FRX 200 is just enough. You don't have to buy 400 usually, but 200 is less available. But right now, neither 200 nor 400 is available. Instead of saving a little bit money and going for Godox, I would coming to the next one. If you do not have enough money, I would suggest that you go for the Photo Pro 300 DT and buy a trigger separately by Simpex. It just works wonderfully well. I used it for quite a few days at Kerala at the Cochin Implant Institute with Dr. Jebin George. It works fantastic. We recorded a couple of cases with it and it just works beautifully. I even recorded glamour dental photography pictures and portraits for my colleagues and the staff at Cochin Implant Institute, where I'd gone to learn about implants and soft and hard tissue augmentation. So since I've personally used it, I've personally used Photo Pro, I've used Simpex, I've used Godox, I've used Elinchrom, and I personally believe that I'll just go for two with respect to economics. Either I'll go for Elinchrom, which is the best, or if I don't have money, then I'll go for Photo Pro 300 DT, which although it's just in the range of 9,000 rupees plus trigger, that will be 1,600 more or something like that. The total amount will be like 10,200 to 10,500, which is just an absolute steal. So just go ahead and buy the Studiolights immediately, because if you want to up your ante, if you want to upskill your documentation to glamour dental photography, is the right time for you to do that, because a lot of people are on social media nowadays, because most of them are in a lockdown and the patients are less. So you can show off your skills with glamour dental photography or tabletop photography, and this Studiolight is just working like piece of cake. Alright, if you want to check out all the videos about this particular light, do follow me on my Instagram. That's at Canon Photo Mentor, where I'll be uploading a new reel every day, which is going to be awesome. If you have any questions or comments, if you know a little bit more about these lights, do put it in the comments. I'll be really happy to hear from you. Until next time, see ya. That's all we have time for in this episode. If you're getting benefited from my tips, do show your love by leaving a rating and a review. For tutorials on photography, do check out my channel Dental Photography School on YouTube. To participate in contests and live events, join the Dental Photography School Facebook and Telegram group. You can follow me on Instagram as Mayur_EOS Maestro or Dental Photography School. I'll meet you next week. Till then, keep listening, keep sharing.